Hi, I'm Tom. It's August 10th, 2025, and I am 49 years and 58 days old. I was at a music festival this weekend, and something that I took away from this one is I think when people imagine going out, especially surrounded by a lot of people, to somewhere where they are not familiar with what's happening, or to somewhere where, yeah, it's just they've not been there before. Maybe it's a new experience. We tend to imagine that people are going to be watching us and they're going to know that we are not familiar with it, we're not from there, and we found out. We found out, and they're going to know that that we don't belong. And feeling like you don't belong is a incredibly bad feeling. And being made to feel like you don't belong is an incredibly bad feeling. And you'd assume that at things that feel very insular or very specific, like music festivals, that this would be a common thing. What you will discover if you've not been to a music festival and you go to one is that no one is looking at anyone. Or to put it another way, there are a lot of people there being a way that indicates that they are not concerned with perception. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that if you were to see someone existing in this manner on the street in an everyday scenario, they would be noticed. It'd be a very particular place if people didn't notice this. But at a music festival, this is just one of the many ways of existing that you will see at a music festival. And that's definitely part of it. It's the variety of people. One interesting thing about Dutch music festivals is that they have a much wider age range than festivals I've been to in North America or other parts of Europe. Those tend to skew younger. And the festivals in the Netherlands and also in Belgium seem to attract or continue to attract people that had been going to them 20, 30 years ago. And as a result, you just have a different crowd. And the presence of people within a wide age range really helps that sense that no one is paying attention to you because they're too busy having the experience they want to have. I appreciate there's a certain irony to someone making the observation that no one's looking at people, but maybe people are looking at people for anthropological purposes. I'm not an anthropologist. I just play one on the internet. No one is looking at other people with judgment, or so few people are looking at people with judgment that it might as well be no one. Certainly fewer people than probably just around. I would guess you are more likely to be judged walking into certain cafes or restaurants than you are at a music festival. The idea of going to a music festival with the intention or with the heart of someone who would judge people feels antithetical. Now, I'm positive that's, a wild overstatement. But again, the majority of people seem to be having such a singular time with themselves and with anyone else around them that is sharing that vibe, that I would think it's a tiny minority who would be there with a heart to judge other people. And the reason I bring this up is if you spend hours and multiple days around people who seem to be acting without a sense that they will be judged for it, it really rewires the way that you think people can be around each other. It's a similar feeling when you're, say, around a lot of what is now called theater kids, or when you are maybe with people that do a lot of improv. There's a certain fluidity and freedom that I think we can associate with too much overt acting out. And certainly one of the reasons that I like, say, somewhere like Japan, is that when people are around other people, there's a expectation and an awareness that your individual existence should not impede upon anyone else's individual existence. So I guess that's a contradiction. I mean, it is a contradiction. But I also can see that both can and maybe should be true. That on the one hand, yes, it is generally good to consider the experience of other people around you when having an experience yourself, while at the same time possibly being in a space that is judgment-free, or at least overt judgment-free, is also, I think, a good thing. And maybe where we err, one of the many ways I've solved it. I've figured out societies and civilization. But maybe one of the many ways that we err in the way that we coalesce around each other is in trying to strike too much of a middle ground between those two. And maybe instead there's like a time and place for both of them. This is probably just some kind of way that I'm trying to rationalize constantly having music festivals. But if so, why not?